Welcome back.
Your spirit will hate her, the flower who married my brother, the traitor, and you will expose his puppet behavior, for you are the proof of how we betrayed her loyalty. Hush, child, the darkness will rise from the deep and carry you down to sleep. Child, the darkness will rise from the deep and carry you down to sleep. Guileless son, each day you grow older, each moment I'm watching my vengeance unfold. For the child of my body, the flesh of my soul will die in returning the birthright he stole. The darkness will rise from the deep and carry you down to sleep. Child, the darkness will rise from the deep and carry you down to
Good evening, guys, and good to see you. We are back tonight after that lovely time sub Sunday with Music Gaming as the new champion. Thanks again for the Prime sub there. Very exciting. Tonight we're going to get started with some Lovecraft stories. Very excited for that. Play just one round of Hunt with the Phantom. Sorry to have left my team behind, but I had to leave them behind to get the bounty. Basically, use a single bounty. We had fought every single team in the game. We'll be showing those Hunt captures for sure tomorrow, hopefully early evening for sure. Earlier than now. About 3 hours for tonight's stream, so enjoy some good Lovecraft stories. Hopefully have time for some adventures afterwards, maybe some Red Dead, Hand of Fate 2, or get started that new area Spout Casters University if you guys want to see that. We'll look forward to it. We shall enjoy it, and we'll get started with some good stories. Take a look at that in just a quick moment here. Gotten to be very fantastic and lovely. Welcome back to the Roostin. A very lovely time with that great stuff. Music Gaming, our brand new champion. Thank you for the first resub, getting us to double digits. First time sub there for the month of January. Very exciting for a lovely time of that. We shall carry on here and be thankful for other such good times as we keep up the fun and the adventures. Let's take a look here at our readings tonight as we get switched to the just chatting section. For now is the best one to have it in, looks like. We last did 1 week ago. It feels like such a quick week to me, but last time was The Love Dead, a good hour-long story or such, not too long, but it was interesting. 1923 for The Love Dead, pretty bloody, gory tale. We have several other ones here tonight to look at. We have Medusa's Coil, for example. Last time I didn't really look at how long it was, but this one, Zelia Bishop. Have we read Medusa's Coil? I'm not sure. This is definitely on the longer side. We could get through it in a relatively short amount of time if we enjoy it and commit to it. Don't believe we have read Medusa's Coil. I remember them more or less, and if we start reading it, it becomes familiar, we can always select a new one. It's not really official until we read the whole thing and make it a thumbnail. Sometimes they're even in 2 parts. They're so long, like that one that took about 4 hours. Or, actually, I did that one in 4 hours one morning, came back for the evening show, and had that other 2-parter one, other like a laboratory one that had the 2 parts. Or the final test, I think that was, yeah, the final test took two different sessions to read through all that. That was an extremely lengthy different chapter one for that. Alright, looking good. I just need a quick other messages, other interesting things going on. But let me just turn off the Wi-Fi, avoid those distractions for now. That we are back to the show and a lovely time here for a terrific Tuesday. Like I said, more of those hunt captures to come. It's been about a week of hunt capturing that good stuff. Spellcaster University, a lot of fun to get started with that recently. We have, of course, the Dragon Knight badge, looking fantastic now. Added to the family. Dragon Knight greatness. Everything else pretty much set and good to go. We can get started then for a lovely time here tonight. Voice mod working as always. We have Tron and many quick demonstration for you there. Voice mod available through our ratings and any other time you'd like. So that's one little demonstration. We have our champion commands, other good things. Look forward to welcome back Mwezik and other good friends. So we get started and looking good. Alright then, let's begin and see what can be done here tonight. Going to be absolutely lovely and great. But yeah, this is an interesting new one, just kind of caught my eye. Decide if we want to take a look at it and have a good show of it. For a terrific Tuesday. And Medusa's Coil show, we just jump right in there, get started. It's pretty long, so yeah, this will be interesting. This one he did for Zelia Bishop. I don't think we've read this one before. It's possible. So I look through just initial things here. Doesn't look immediately familiar, so we'll get started with it, see how it goes, and enjoy as we can for this sort of excitement and entertainment. Here for our soundtrack as well. Let us begin then and see where it takes us, shall we? On for a terrific Tuesday here at the 9-minute mark. Medusa's Coil by H.P. Lovecraft for Zelia Bishop. And here we go. The drive toward Cape Girardeau had been through unfamiliar country, and as the late afternoon light grew golden and half dreamlike, I realized that I must have directions if I expected to reach the town before night. I did not care to be wandering about these bleak southern Missouri lowlands after dark, for roads were poor and the November cold rather formidable in an open roadster. Black clouds, too, were massing on the horizon, so I looked about among the long gray and blue shadows that streaked the flat, brownish fields, hoping to glimpse some house where I might get the needed information. It was a lonely and deserted country, but at last I spied a roof among a clump of trees near the small river to my right, perhaps a full half-mile from the road, and probably reachable by some path or drive which I would presently come upon. In the absence of any near dwelling, I resolved to try my luck there, and was glad when the bushes by the roadside revealed the ruin of a carved stone gateway, covered with dry, dead vines, and choked with undergrowth, which explained why I had not been able to trace the path across the fields in my first distant view. I said that I could not drive the car in, so I parked it very carefully near the gate, where a thick evergreen would shield it in case of rain. And so, got out for the long walk to the house. Traversing that brush-grown path in the gathering twilight, I was conscious of a distinct sense of foreboding, probably induced by the air of sinister decay hovering about the gate and the former driveway. From the carvings on the old stone pillars, I inferred that this place was once an estate of manorial dignity, and I could clearly see that the driveway had originally boasted guardian lines of linden trees, some of which had died, while others had lost their special identity among the wild scrub growths of the region. As I plowed onward, cockleburs and stickers clung to my clothes, and I began to wonder whether the place could be inhabited after all. Was I trampling on a vain errand? For a moment I was tempted to go back and try some farm farther along the road, with a view to the house ahead. Around my curiosity and stimulated my venturesome spirit. Alright, quick 2-minute interlude here. I'm going to invite someone to the stream. I will be right back. Alright, sorry about that. I got a text, just at the start of the story there. And we're gonna pick it up right where we left off in a minute here. But I did want to address that text and have things ready for an RSVP. Other thing going on is to give a chance to chat, a chance to warm up and such. And we still continue to celebrate Moistic Gaming's lovely first time sub getting us back to the double digits here for the month of January. And we'll pick it up here for Medusa's Coil in just a quick moment. Little interlude, or we can start from the beginning if you'd like, but yeah, we'll pick it up here from for a moment I was tempted to go back and try some farm further along the road when a view of the house ahead aroused my curiosity and stimulated my venturesome spirit. We'll pick it up from there in just a quick moment. I'd like to invite just about anyone to the stream, so... I think it's a fun place, as long as people come in and chat, make themselves known. Hopefully they enjoy even if they don't chat, but if they make themselves known, we find a place for just about anyone in the world here, so... It's a great place to be, one of the best streams on Twitch. A lovely time as we read these stories and other things and test the broadcast, make sure it is working just fine. Yes, it is indeed. Welcoming everyone to the Roost. A lovely time with those champion commands. Moistic Gaming has access to now and other things, thanks to the Prime sub as well. Other recent follows and things. Just confirming here for our RSVP. We'll go ahead and pick it up for now. There was something provocatively fascinating in the tree-girt, decrepit pile before me, for it spoke of the graces and spaciousness of a bygone era in a far more southerly environment. It was a typical wooden plantation house of the classic early 19th century pattern, with 2.5 stories and a great Ionic portico, whose pillars reach up as far as the attic and supported a triangular pediment. Its state of decay was extreme and obvious, one of the vast columns having rotted and fallen to the ground. While the upper piazza or balcony had sagged dangerously low, other buildings, I judged, had formerly stood near it. As I mounted the broad stone steps to the low porch and the carved and fan-lighted doorway, I felt distinctly nervous, and started to light a cigarette, desisting when I saw how dry and inflammable everything about me was. Though now convinced that the house was deserted, I nevertheless hesitated to violate its dignity without knocking, so tugged at the rusty iron knocker until I could get it to move, and finally set up a cautious rapping which seemed to make the whole place shake and rattle. There was no response, yet once more I plied the cumbrous creaking device, as much to dispel the sense of unholy silence and solitude as to arouse any possible occupation of the ruin. Somewhere near the river I heard the mournful note of a dove, and it seemed as if the coursing water itself were faintly audible. Half in a dream, I seized and rattled the ancient latch, and finally gave the great 6-paneled door a frank trying. It was unlocked, as I could see in a moment, and though it stuck and grated on its hinges, I began to push it open, stepping through it into a vast shadowy hall as I did so. But the moment I took this step, I regretted it. It was not that a legion of specters confronted me in that dim and dusty hall, with the ghostly Empire furniture, but that I knew all at once that the place was not deserted at all. There was a creaking on the great curved staircase, and the sound of faltering footsteps slowly descending. Then I saw a tall, bent figure silhouetted for an instant against the great Palladian window on the landing. My first start of terror was soon over, and as the figure descended and the final flight, I was ready to greet the householder whose privacy I had invaded. In the semi-darkness, I could see him reach in his pocket for a match. There came a flare as he lighted a small kerosene lamp which stood on a rickety console table near the foot of the stairs. In the feeble glow was revealed the stooping figure of a very tall, emaciated old man, disordered as to dress, the unshaved as to face, yet for all that with the bearing and expression of a gentleman. I did not wait for him to speak, but at once began to explain my presence. You'll pardon my coming in like this, but when my knocking didn't raise anybody, I concluded that no one lived here. What I wanted originally was to know the right road to Cape Girardeau. The shortest road, that is. I wanted to get there before dark, but now, of course. As I paused, the man spoke, in exactly the cultivated tone that I expected, and with a mellow accent as unmistakably southern as the house he inhabited. Rather, you must pardon me for not answering your knock more promptly. I live in a very retired way and am not usually expecting visitors. At first I thought you were a mere curiosity seeker. Then when you knocked again, I started to answer, but I am not well and have to move very slowly. Spinal neuritis, very troublesome case. But as for your getting to town before dark, it's plain you can't do that. The road you are on, for I suppose you came from the gate, isn't the best or shortest way. What you must do is to take your first left after you leave the gate. That is, the first real road to your left. There are 3 or 4 cart paths you can ignore, but you can't mistake the real road because of the extra large willow tree on the right, just opposite it. Then when you've returned, keep on past 2 roads and turn to the right along the 3rd. After that, perplexed by these elaborate directions, confusing things indeed to a total stranger, I could not help interrupting. Please wait a moment. How can I follow all these clues in pitch darkness without ever having been near here before, and with only an indifferent pair of headlights to tell me what is and what isn't a road? Besides, I think it's going to storm pretty soon, and my car is an open one. It looks as if I were in a bad fix if I want to get to Cape Girardeau tonight. Hello, Mr. Marsh, thank you for the lurk, and it will be indeed, my friend. Thank you for starting off our chat for the night. Good to see you, Mr. Marsh, with the lovely elephant noises. How are you tonight, Dragon Knight? Hope you have a good lurk. Will we continue to read the story at least another hour here? Welcome on then, though, in any case, to Mr. Dragon Knight Marshmallow Font. A lovely time of it tonight. Good times. We'll see what other great adventures, though. Still celebrating and Wesley gaining from that sub Sunday. Excellent Prime sub. Hope you're doing great there with a new sub and good fun there, Marsh, with the Dragon Knight moment badge. Other good times for the king, for the land, and for great stories to be told.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to you as we continue on Medusa's Coil. Let's see where we left off here. Oh, not bad. We just started pretty much, just kind of setting the stage a bit. Guy went to the dark house in the evening. Just the imagery, you know, is so dark, just like my background. And he's talking to the house owner here, trying to get directions to Cape Girardeau as he gets other things said for his journey and meeting place, other things. I was also talking with other job fair, gonna invite them to the stream, but they have not confirmed the directions for me just yet. Near Hell's Kitchen and other things like that, so some good times Indeed, he's about to suggest he sleeps there, Marsh. Let's see where we have here. Maybe some Red Dead tonight, more of that. Spellcasters University will decide. Hand of Fate 2 is also an option. 7% drop frames. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to keep that calm. At least it's only in the reading, but still it should not be rising so much. Where the heck is that coming from? Probably just the music or something. It's annoying. Okay, we left off there. Yeah, but the door was open. Alright, the fact is I don't think I'd better try to make it. I don't like to impose burdens or anything like that, but in view of the circumstances, do you suppose you could put me up for the night? I won't be any trouble. No meals or anything. Just let me have a corner to sleep in till daylight. And I'm alright. I can leave the car on the road where it is. A bit of wet weather won't hurt it, if worse comes to worse. As I made my sudden request, I could see the old man's face lose its former expression of quiet resignation and take on an odd, surprised look. Sleep here? He seemed so astonished at my request that I repeated it. Yes, why not? I assure you I won't be any trouble. What else can I do? I'm a stranger hereabouts. These roads are a labyrinth in the dark, and I'll wager it'll be raining torrents outside of an hour. This time it was my host's turn to interrupt, and as he did so I could feel a peculiar quality in his deep, musical voice. A stranger? Of course you must be, else you wouldn't think of sleeping here. Wouldn't think of coming here at all. People don't come here nowadays. He paused, and my desire to stay was increased 1,000-fold by the sense of mystery his laconic words seemed to evoke. There was surely something alluringly queer about this place, and the pervasive musty smell seemed to cloak 1,000 secrets. Again, I noticed the extreme decrepitude of everything about me, manifest even in the feeble rays of the single small lamp. I felt woefully chilly, and saw with regret that no heating seemed to be provided. Yet so great was my curiosity that I still wished most ardently to stay and learn something of the recluse and his dismal abode. I gotta change my screen settings. I have it on for 10 minutes now, but actually because of my internet took so long to send something, I changed it to turn on for 10 minutes. Let me just go ahead and turn that off real quick, because that's a little bit long. For the screen timeout to be 10 whole minutes, yeah. 30 seconds is good, maybe 1 minute. 30 seconds, good in general. There we go. And they'll text me back. I'll text that saved draft I have for them. I'm just waiting for them to confirm the address for something, so. Okay, where were we here? To stay and learn something of the recluse and his dismal abode, right? Okay. Let that be as it may, I replied. I can't help about other people, but I surely would like to have a spot to stop till daylight. Still, if people don't relish this place, mayn't it be because it's getting so run down? Of course, I suppose it would take a fortune to keep such an estate up. But if the burden's too great, why don't you look for smaller quarters? Why try to stick it out here in this way, with all the hardships and discomforts? The man did not seem offended, but answered me very gravely. Surely you may stay if you really wish to. You can come to no harm that I know of, but others claim there are certain peculiarly undesirable influences here. As for me, I stay here because I have to. There is something I feel a duty to guard, something that holds me. I wish I had the money and health and ambition to take decent care of the house and grounds. With my curiosity still more heightened, I prepared to take my host at his word, and followed him slowly upstairs when he motioned me to do so. It was very dark now, and a faint pattering outside told me that the threatening rain had come. I would have been glad of any shelter, but this was doubly welcome because of the hints of mystery about the place and its master. For an incurable lover of the grotesque, no more fitting haven could have been provided. Why is there another freaking lover of the grotesque? Just like the last story. Okay. Anyway, on to chapter 2. The times with the marshmallow font. Indeed. There was a second-floor corner room in less unkempt shape than the rest of the house, and into this my host led me, settling down his small lamp and lighting a somewhat larger one. From the cleanliness and contents of the room, and from the books ranged along the walls, I could see that I had not guessed amiss in thinking the man a gentleman of taste and breeding. He was a hermit and eccentric, no doubt, but he still had standards and intellectual interests. As he waved to me a seat, I began a conversation on general topics, and was pleased to find him not at all taciturn. If anything, he seemed glad of someone to talk to, and did not even attempt to swerve the discourse from personal topics. He was, I learned, one Antoine de Russie, of an ancient, powerful, and cultivated line of Louisiana planters. How about that? More than a century ago, his grandfather, a younger son, had migrated to southern Missouri and founded a new estate in the lavish ancestral manner, building this pillared mansion and surrounding it with all the accessories of a great plantation. There had been, at one time, as many as 200 Negroes in the cabins, which stood on the flat ground in the rear, ground that the river had now invaded, and to hear them singing and laughing and playing the banjo at night was to know the fullest charm of a civilization and social order now sadly extinct. In front of the house, where the great guardian oaks and willows stood, there had been a lawn like a broad green carpet, always watered and trimmed, and with flag-stoned, flower-bordered walks curving through it. Riverside, for such the place was called, had been a lovely and idyllic homestead in its day, and my host could recall it when many traces of its best period still lingered. It was raining hard now, with dense sheets of water beating against the insecure roof, walls, and windows, and sending in drops through 1,000 chinks and crevices. Moisture trickled down to the floor from unsuspected places, and the mounting wind rattled the rotting, loose-hinged shutters outside. But I minded none of this, nor even thought of my roadster outside beneath the trees, for I saw that a story was coming. Incited to reminiscence, my host made a move to show me to sleeping quarters, but kept on recalling the older, better days. Soon I saw I would receive an inkling of why he lived alone in that ancient place, and why his neighbors thought it full of undesirable influences. His voice was very musical as he spoke on, and his tale soon took a turn which left me no chance to grow drowsy. Yes, Riverside was built in 1816, and my father was born here in 1828. He'd be over a century old now if he were alive, but he died young, so young I can just barely remember him. In 64, that was, he was killed in the war, 7th Louisiana Infantry CSA, for he went back to the old home to enlist. My grandfather was too old to fight, yet he lived on to be 95 and helped my mother bring me up. A good bringing up, too, I'll give them credit. We always had strong traditions, high notions of honor, and my grandfather saw to it that I grew up the way de Russies have grown up, generation after generation, ever since the Crusades. We weren't quite wiped out financially, but managed to get on very comfortably after the war. I went to a good school in Louisiana, and later to Princeton. Later on, I was able to get the plantation on a fairly profitable basis, though you see that it's come what it's come to now. My mother died when I was 20, and my grandfather 2 years later. It was rather lonely after that, and in '85 I married a distant cousin in New Orleans. Things might have been different if she'd lived, but she died when my son Dennis was born. Then I had only Dennis. I didn't try marriage again, but gave all my time to the boy. He was like me, like all the de Russis, darkish and tall and thin, and with a devil of a temper. I gave him the same training my grandfather had given me, but he didn't need much training when it came to points of honor. It was in him, I reckon. Never saw such high spirit. All I could do to keep him from running away to the Spanish War was when he was 11. Romantic young devil, too, full of high notions. You'd call him Victorian now. No trouble at all to make him let the expletive wenches alone. I sent him to the same school I'd gone to, and to Princeton too. He was class of 1909. Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that on the street. We had the problem with Lenny calling it himself on Reddit. I probably shouldn't say that. So, yeah. In the end, he decided to be a doctor and went a year to the Harvard Medical School. Then he hit on the idea of keeping to the old French tradition of the family and argued me into sending him across to the Sorbonne. I did, and proudly enough, though I knew how lonely I'd be with him so far off. Would to God I hadn't. I thought he was the safest kind of boy to be in Paris. He had a room in the Rue Saint-Jacques. That's near the university in the Latin Quarter. But according to his letters and his friends, he didn't cut up with the gayer dogs at all. The people he knew were mostly young fellows from home, serious students and artists who thought more of their work than of striking attitudes and painting the town red. But of course there were lots of fellows who were on a sort of dividing line between serious studies and the devil. The aesthetes, the decadents, you know. Experimenters in life and sensation, the Baudelaire kind of a chap. Naturally, Dennis ran up against a good many of these and saw a good deal of their life. They had all sorts of crazy circles and cults, imitation devil worship, fake black masses, and the like. Doubt if it had them much harm on the whole. Probably most of them forgot all about it in a year or two. One of the deepest in this queer stuff was a fellow Dennis had known at school, for that matter, whose father I'd known myself, Frank Marsh of New Orleans, disciple of Lafcadio, Hearn, and Gauguin and Van Gogh, regular epitome of the fellow yellow 90s. Poor devil. He had the makings of a great artist at that. Marsh was the oldest friend Dennis had in Paris, so as to a matter of course, they saw a good deal of each other. To talk over old times at St. Clair Academy and all that, the boy wrote me a good deal about him, and I didn't see any especial harm when he spoke of the group of mystics Marsh ran with. Marsh, that's fun. It's actually Marsh. Yeah. Look at that. It seems there was some cult of prehistoric Egyptian and Carthaginian magic having a rage among the Bohemian element on the left bank, some nonsensical thing that pretended to reach back to forgotten sources of hidden truth and lost African civilizations. Yeah, looks like it, Marsh. Take a look, Marsh. Must be like Marshall or something, right? But hey, that's what they call him, Marsh. That's cool. Yep. Some nonsensical thing that pretended to reach back to forgotten sources of hidden truth and lost African civilizations. The Great Zimbabwe, the dead Atlantean cities, and the Haga region of the Sahara. And that had a lot of gibberish connected with snakes and human hair. At least I called it gibberish then. Dennis used to quote Marsh, as saying odd things about the veiled facts behind the legend of Medusa's snaky locks, and behind the later Ptolemaic myth of Bernice, who offered up her hair to save her husband, brother, and had it set in the sky as the constellation Coma Bernices. That's right. Alright, back to life scene in a bit there. Medusa's coil, indeed, name of the story, so fitting we have some actual Medusa references. I don't think this business made up much impression on Dennis until the night of the queer ritual at Marsh's rooms when he met the priestess. Yeah, who would have thought you were in this story tonight, Marsh? How convenient is that, huh? I did definitely not expect that, but get some lovely unexpected surprises lately, right? Marsh's rooms when he met the priestess. Most of the devotees of this cult were young fellows, but the head of it was a young woman who called herself Tanit Isis, letting it be known that her name in this latest incarnation, as she put it, was Marceline Bedard. She claimed to be the left-handed daughter of Marquis de Chamoux, and seemed to have been both a petty artist and an artist model before adopting this more lucrative magical game. Someone said she had lived for Pose was a great show of austerity and holiness, but I don't think the more experienced students took that very seriously. Dennis, though, was far from experienced, and wrote me fully 10 pages of slush about the goddess he had discovered. If I'd only realized his simplicity, I might have done something, but I never thought a puppy infatuation like that could mean much. I felt absurdly sure that Dennis's touchy personal honor and family pride would always keep him out of the most serious complications. As time went on, though, his letters began to make me nervous. He mentioned this Marceline more and more, and his friends less and less, and began talking about the cruel and silly way they declined to introduce her to their mothers and sisters. He seemed to have asked her no questions about herself, and I don't doubt but that she filled him full of romantic legendary concerning her origin and divine relations, and the way people slighted her. At length I could see that Dennis was altogether cutting his own crowd and spending the bulk of his time with alluring priestess. At her especial request, he never told the old crowd of their continual meetings, so nobody over there tried to break the affair up. I suppose she thought he was fabulously rich, for he had the air of a patrician, and people of a certain class think all aristocratic Americans are wealthy. In any case, she probably thought this a rare chance to contract a genuine right-handed alliance with a really eligible young man. By the time my nervousness burst into open advice, it was too late. The boy had lawfully married her, and wrote that he was dropping his studies and bringing the woman home to Riverside. He said she had made a great sacrifice and resigned her leadership of the magical cult, and that henceforward she would be merely a private gentlewoman, the future mistress of Riverside, and mother of Derusis to come. Well, sir, I took it the best way I could. I knew that sophisticated continentals have different standards from our old American ones, and anyway, I really knew nothing against the woman. A charlatan, perhaps, but why necessarily any worse? I suppose I try to keep as naive as possible about such things in those days for the boy's sake. Clearly, there was nothing for a man of sense to do but to let Dennis alone so long as his new wife conformed to Derusi's ways. Let her have a chance to prove herself. Perhaps she wouldn't hurt the family as much as some might fear. so I didn't raise any objections or ask any penitence. The thing was done, and I stood ready to welcome the boy back, whatever he brought with him. They got here 3 weeks after the telegram telling of the marriage. Marceline was beautiful. There was no denying that, and I could see that the boy might very well get foolish about her. She did have an air of breeding, and I think to this day she must have had some strains of good blood in her. She was apparently not much over 20, of medium size, fairly slim, and as graceful as a tigress in postures and motions. Her complexion was a deep olive, like old ivory, and her eyes were large and very dark. She had small, classically regular features, though not quite clean-cut enough to suit my taste, and the most singular head of jet-black hair that I ever saw. I didn't wonder that she had dragged the subject of hair into her magical cult, for with that heavy profusion of it, the idea must have occurred to her naturally. Coiled up, it made her look like some oriental princess in a drawing of Aubrey Beardsley's, hanging down her back. It came well below her knees and shone in the light as if it had possessed some separate, unholy vitality of its own. I would almost have thought of Medusa or Bernice myself without having such things suggested to me upon seeing and studying that hair. I guess now we know why it's called Medusa's coil, huh? Yep. Sometimes I thought it moved slightly of itself and tended to arrange itself in distinct ropes or strands, but this may have been sheer illusion. She brushed it incessantly and seemed to use some sort of preparation on it. I got the notion once, a curious, whimsical notion, that it was a living thing which she had to feed in some strange way. All nonsense, but it added to my feeling of constraint about her and her hair. For I can't deny that I failed to like her wholly, no matter how hard I tried. I couldn't help what the trouble was, but it was there. Something about her repelled me very subtly, and I could not help waving morbid and macabre associations about everything connected with her. Her complexion called up thoughts of Babylon, Atlantis, Lemuria, and the forgotten, terrible dominations of an elder world. Her eyes struck me sometimes as the eyes of some unholy forest creature or animal goddess, too immeasurably ancient to be fully human, and her hair, that dense, exotic, overnourished growth of oily inkiness, made one shiver as a great black python might have done. There was no doubt but that she realized my involuntary attitude, though I tried to hide it, and she tried to hide the fact that she noticed it. Yet the boy's infatuation lasted. He positively fawned on her, and overdid all the little gallantries of daily life to a sickening degree. She appeared to return the feeling, though. I could see it took a conscious effort to make her duplicate his enthusiasms and extravagances. For one thing, I think she was piqued to learn that we weren't as wealthy as she had expected. It was as bad business all told. I could see that sad undercurrents were arising. Dennis was half hypnotized with puppy love and began to grow away from me as he felt my shrinking from his wife. This kind of thing went on for months, and I saw that I was losing my only son, the boy who had formed the center of all my thoughts and acts for the past quarter century. I'll own that I felt bitter about it. What father wouldn't? And yet, I could do nothing. Marceline seemed to be a good wife enough in those early months, and our friends received her without any quibbling or questioning. I was always nervous, though, about what some of the young fellows in Paris might write home to their relatives after the news of the marriage spread around. Despite the woman's love of secrecy, it couldn't remain hidden forever. Indeed, Dennis had written a few of his closest friends in strict confidence as soon as he was settled with her at Riverside. I got to staying alone in my room more and more, with my failing health as an excuse. It was about the time that my present spinal neuritis began to develop, which made the excuse a pretty good one. Dennis didn't seem to notice the trouble or take any interest in me and my habits and affairs, and it hurt me to see how callous he was getting. I began to get sleepless and often racked my brain in the night to try to find out what was really the matter, what it really was that made my new daughter-in-law so repulsive and even dimly horrible to me. It surely wasn't her old mystical nonsense, for she had left all that past behind her and never mentioned it once. She didn't even do any painting, although I understood that she had once dabbled in art. Oddly, the only ones who seemed to share my uneasiness were the servants. The darkies around the house seemed very sullen in their attitude toward her, and in a few weeks all save the few who were strongly attached to our family had left. These few, old Scipio and his wife Sarah, the cook Delilah, and Mary, Scipio's daughter, were as civil as possible, but plainly revealed that their new mistress commanded their duty rather than their affection. They stayed in their own remote part of the house as much as possible. McCabe, our white chauffeur, was insolently admiring rather than hostile. And another exception was a very old Zulu woman, said to have come from Africa over 100 years before, who had been a sort of leader in her small cabin as a kind of family pensioner. Old Sophonisba always showed reverence whenever Marceline came near her, and one time I saw her kiss the ground where her mistress had walked. Blacks are superstitious animals, and I wondered whether Marceline had been talking any of her mystical nonsense to our hands in order to overcome their evident dislike. All right, we are on to chapter 3. So, let's keep going. Well, that's how we went on for nearly half a year. Then, in the summer of 1916, things began to happen. Toward the middle of June, Dennis got a note from his old friend Frank Marsh. See, Frank Marsh, telling of a sort of nervous breakdown which made him want to take a rest in the country. It was postmarked New Orleans, for Marsh had gone home from Paris when he felt the collapse coming on, and seemed a very plain thought, polite bid from an invitation from us. Marsh, of course, knew that Marceline was here, and asked very courteously after her. Dennis was sorry to hear of his trouble, and told him at once to come along for an indefinite visit. Marsh came, and I was shocked to notice how he had changed since I had seen him in his earlier days. He was a smallish, lightish fellow with blue eyes and an undecided chin, and now I could see the effects of drink, and I don't know what else in his puffy eyelids, enlarged nose pores, and heavy lines around the mouth. I reckon he had taken his pose of decadence pretty seriously, and set out to be as much of a Rimbaud, Baudelaire, or La Tremont as he could. And yet he was delightful to talk to, for like all decadents, he was exquisitely sensitive to the color and atmosphere and names of things, admirably thoroughly alive, and with whose whole records of conscious experience in obscure, shadowy fields of living and feeling which most of us pass over without knowing they exist. Poor young devil. If only his father had lived longer and taken him in hand. There was great stuff in the boy. I was glad of the visit, for I felt it would help to set up a normal atmosphere in the house again. And that's what it really seemed to do at first, for, as I said, Marsh was a delight to have around. Yes, you are, Marsh. You are a delight to have around. That's so funny. He was as sincere and profound an artist as I ever saw in my life, and I certainly believe that nothing on earth mattered to him except the perception and expression of beauty. When he saw an exquisite thing, or was creating one, his eyes would dilate until the light irises went nearly out of sight, leaving two mystical black pits in the weak, delicate chalk-like face, black pits opening on strange worlds which none of us could guess about. That's right. It must be true then, yeah. When he reached here, though, he didn't have many chances to show this tendency, for he had, as he told Dennis, gone quite stale. It seems he had been very successful as an artist of a bizarre kind. That's so funny, Mark. Like Fuseli or Goya or Seam or Clark Ashton Smith, but had suddenly become played out. The world of ordinary things around him had ceased to hold anything he could recognize as beauty. Beauty, that is, of enough force and poignancy to arouse his creative faculty. He had often been there this way before. All decadents are, but this time he could not invent any new, strange, or outre sensation or experience which would supply the needed illusion of fresh beauty or stimulatingly adventurous expectancy. He was like a Durtal or a Des Essentes at the most jaded point of his curious orbit. Marceline was away when Marsh arrived. She hadn't been enthusiastic about his coming and had refused to decline an invitation from some of our friends in St. Louis, which came about that time for her and Dennis. Dennis, of course, stayed to receive his guests, but Marceline had gone on alone. It was the first time they had ever been separated, and I hope the interval would help to dispel the sort of daze that was making such a fool of the boy. Marceline showed no hurry to get back, but seemed to me to prolong her absence as much as she could. Dennis stood it better than one would have expected from such a doting husband, and seemed more like his old self as he talked over other days with Marsh and tried to cheer up the listless aesthete up. Okay. It was Marsh who seemed most impatient to see the woman, perhaps because he thought her strange beauty, or some phase of the mysticism which had gone into her one-time magical cult, might help to reawaken his interest in things and give him another start toward artistic creation. That there was no baser reason, I was absolutely certain from what I knew of Marsh's character. With all his weaknesses, he was a gentleman, and it had indeed relieved me when I first learned that he wanted to come here, because his willingness to accept Dennis's hospitality proved that there was no reason why he shouldn't. When at last Marceline did return, I could see that Marsh was tremendously affected. He did not attempt to make her talk of the bizarre thing which he had so definitely abandoned, but was unable to hide a powerful admiration which kept his eyes, now dilated in that curious way for the first time during his visit. Riveted to her every moment she was in the room, she, however, seemed uneasy rather than pleased by his steady scrutiny. That is, she seemed so at first, though this feeling of hers wore away in a few days, and left the two on a basis of the most cordial and voluble congeniality. I could see Marsh studying her constantly when he thought no one was watching, and I wondered how long it would be that only the artist, and not the primitive man, would be aroused by her mysterious graces. How about that, Marsh? Dennis naturally felt some irritation at this turn of affairs, though he realized that his guest was a man of honor and that, as kindred mystics and aesthetes, Marceline and Marsh would naturally have things and interests to discuss in which a more or less conventional person could have no part. He didn't hold anything against anybody, but merely regretted that his own imagination was too limited and traditional to let him talk with Marceline as Marsh talked. At this stage of things, I began to see more of the boy, with his wife otherwise busy. He had time to remember that he had a father, and a father who was ready to help him in any sort of perplexity or difficulty. We often sat together on the veranda, watching Marsh and Marceline as they rode up or down the drive on horseback, or played tennis on the court that used to stretch south of the house. They talked mostly in French, which Marsh, though he hadn't more than a quarter portion of French blood, handled more glibly than either Dennis or I could speak it. Marceline's English, always academically correct, was rapidly improving in accent, but it was plain that she relished dropping back into her mother tongue. As we looked at the congenial couple they made, I could see the boy's cheek and throat muscles tighten, though he wasn't a whit less ideal a host to Marsh, or a whit less considerate a husband to Marceline. All this was generally in the afternoon, for Marceline rose very late, and had breakfast in bed, and took an immense amount of time preparing to come downstairs. I never knew of anyone so wrapped up in cosmetics, beauty exercises, hair oils, unguents, and everything of that kind. It was in these morning hours that Dennis and Marsh did their real visiting, and exchanged the close confidences which kept their friendship up despite the strain that jealousy imposed. Well, it was in one of those morning talks on the veranda that Marsh made the proposition which brought on the end. I was laid up with some of my neuritis, but had managed to get downstairs and stretch out on the front parlor sofa near the long window. Dennis and Marsh were just outside, so I couldn't help hearing all they said. They had been talking about art and the curious, capricious environmental elements needed to jolt an artist into producing the real article, when Marsh suddenly swerved from abstractions to the personal applications he must have had his mind from the start. I suppose he was saying that nobody can tell just what it is in some scenes or objects that makes them aesthetic stimuli for certain individuals. Basically, of course, it must have some reference to each man's background of stored up mental associations. for no two people have the same scale of sensitiveness and responses. We decadents are artists for whom all ordinary things have ceased to have any emotional or imaginative significance, but none of us responds in the same way to exactly the same extraordinary thing. Now take me, for instance. He paused and resumed. I know, Denny, that I can say these things to you because you have such a preternaturally unspoiled mind. Clean, fine, direct, objective, and all that. You won't misunderstand as an over-substituted effete man of the world might. He paused once more. The fact is, I think I know what's needed to set my imagination working again. I've had a dim idea of it ever since we were in Paris, but I'm sure now. It's Marceline, old chap. That face and that hair, and that train of shadowy images they bring up. Not merely visible beauty, though God knows there's enough of that, but something peculiar and individualized that can't exactly be explained. Do you know, in the last few days I felt the existence of such a stimulus so keenly that I honestly think I could outdo myself. I break into the real masterpiece class if I could get a hold of paint and canvas at just the time when her face and her hair set my fancy stirring and weaving. There's something weird and otherworldly about it, something joined up with the dim, ancient thing Marceline represents. I don't know how much she's told you about that side of her, but I can assure you there's plenty of it. She's had some marvelous links with the outside. Some change in Dennis's expression must have halted the speaker here, for there was a considerable spell of silence before the words went on. I was utterly taken aback, for I'd expected no such overt development like this, and I wondered what my son could be thinking. My heart began to pound violently, and I strained my ears in the frankest of intentional eavesdropping. Then Marsh resumed. Of course you're jealous. I know how a speech like mine must sound, but I can swear to you that you needn't be. Dennis did not answer, and Marsh went on. To tell the truth, I could never be in love with Marceline. I couldn't even be a cordial friend of hers in the warmest sense. Why, damn it all, I felt like a hypocrite talking with her these days, as I've been doing. The case simply is that one phase of her half hypnotizes me in a certain way, a very strange, fantastic, and dimly terrible way, just as another phase half hypnotizes you in a much more normal way. I see something in her, or to be psychologically exact, something through her or beyond her, that you don't see at all. Something that brings up a vast pageantry of shapes from forgotten abysses, and makes me want to paint incredible things whose outlines vanish the instant I try to envisage them clearly. Don't mistake, Denny, your wife is a magnificent being, a splendid focus of cosmic forces, who has a right to be called divine, if anything on earth has. I felt a clearing of the situation at that point, of the abstract strangeness of Marsh's expressed statement, plus the flattery he was now heaping on Marceline, could not fail to disarm the mollify one as fondly proud of his consort as Dennis always was. Marsh evidently caught the change himself, for there was more confidence in his tone as he continued. I must paint her, Denny. Must paint that hair, and you won't regret it. There's something more than mortal about that hair, something more than beautiful. He paused, and I wondered what Dennis could be thinking. I wondered, indeed, what I was really thinking myself. Was Marsh's interest actually that of the artist alone, or was he merely infatuated as Dennis had been? I had thought in their school days that he had envied my boy, and I dimly felt that it might be the same now. On the other hand, something in that talk of artistic stimulus had rung amazingly true, so that the more I pondered, the more I was inclined to take the stuff at face value. Dennis seemed to do so, too, for although I could not catch his low-spoken reply, I could tell by the effect it produced that it must have been affirmative. There was a sound of someone slapping another on the back, and then a graceful speech from Marsh that I was long to remember. "That's great, Denny. And just as I told you, you'll never regret it. In a sense, I'm half doing it for you. You'll be a different man when you see it. I'll put you back where you used to be, giving you a waking up and a sort of salvation. But you can't see what I mean just as yet. Just remember old friendship. And don't get the idea that I'm not the same old bird." I rose perplexedly as I saw the two stroll off across the lawn, arm in arm, and smoking in unison. What could Marsh have meant by his strange and almost ominous reassurance? The more my fears were quieted in one direction, the more they were aroused in another. Look at it any way I could, it seemed to be rather a bad business. But matters got started just the same. Dennis fixed up an attic room with skylights, and Marsh sent for all sorts of painting equipment. Everyone was rather excited about the new venture, and I was at least glad that something was on foot to break the brooding tension. Soon the sittings began, and we all took them quite seriously, for we could see that Marsh regarded them as important artistic events. Denny and I used to go quietly about the house as though something sacred were occurring, and we knew that it was sacred so far as Marsh was concerned. With Marceline, though, it was a different matter, as I began to see at once. Whatever Marsh's reactions to the sittings may have been, hers were painfully obvious. Every possible way she betrayed a frank and commonplace infatuation for the artist, and would repulse Dennis's marks of affection whenever she dared. Oddly, I noticed this was more vividly than Dennis himself, and tried to devise some plan for keeping the boy's mind easy until the matter could be straightened out. There was no use in having him excited about it if it could be helped. In the end, I decided that Dennis had better be away while the disagreeable situation existed. I could represent his interest well enough at the end, and sooner or later Marsh would finish the picture and go. My view of Marsh's honor was such that I did not look for any worse developments. When the matter had blown over, and Marceline had forgotten about her new infatuation, it would be time enough to have Dennis on hand again. So I wrote a long letter to my marketing and financial agent in New York, and cooked up a plan to have the boy summoned there for an indefinite time. I had the agent write him that our affairs absolutely required one of us to go east, and of course my illness made it clear that I could not be the one. It was arranged that when Dennis got to New York, he would find enough plausible matters to keep him busy, as long as I thought he ought to be away. The plan worked perfectly, and Dennis started for New York without the least suspicion. Marceline and Marsh, going with him in the car to Cape Girardeau, where he caught the afternoon train to St. Louis. They returned about dark, and as McCabe drove the car back to the stables, I could hear them talking on the veranda. In those same chairs near the long parlor window where Marsh and Dennis had sat when I overheard them talk about the portrait. This time I resolved to do some intentional eavesdropping, so quietly went down to the front parlor and stretched out on the sofa near the window. At first I could not hear anything, but very shortly there came a sound as of a chair being shifted, followed by a short, sharp breath and a sort of inarticulately hurt exclamation from Marceline. Then I heard Marsh speaking in a strained, almost formal voice. "I'd enjoy working tonight if you're not too tired." Marceline's reply was in the same hurt tone which had marked her exclamation. She used English as he had done. "Oh, Frank, is that really all you care about? Forever working? Can't we just sit out in this glorious moonlight?" He answered impatiently, his voice showing a certain contempt beneath the dominant quality of artistic enthusiasm. Moonlight! Good God, what cheap sentimentality! For a supposedly sophisticated person, you surely do hang on to some of the crudest claptrap that ever escaped from the dime novels. With art at your elbow, you have to think of the moon, cheap as a spotlight at the varieties. Or perhaps if it makes you think of the Rudmas dance around the stone pillars at Auteuil. Hell, how you used to make those goggle-eyed yaps stare. But no, I suppose you've dropped all that now. No more Atlantean magic or hair snake rites for Madame de Russie. I'm the only one to remember the old things. The things that came down through the temples of Tanit and echoed on the ramparts of Zimbabwe. But I won't be cheated of that remembrance. All that is weaving itself into the things on my canvas, the things that is going to capture wonder and crystallize the secrets of 75,000 years. Marceline interrupted into a voice full of mixed emotions. "It's you who are cheaply sentimental now. You know well that the old things had better be let alone. All of you had better look out if ever I chant the old rites or try to call up what lies hidden in Ugoth, Zimbabwe, and R'lyeh. I thought you had more sense. You lack logic. You want to be interested in that precious paintings of yours, yet you never let me see what you're doing. Always that black cloth over it. It's of me. I should think it would matter if I saw it." Marsh was interrupting this time, his voice curiously hard and strained. "No, not now. You'll see it in due course of time. You say it's of you, yes, it's that, but it's more. If you knew, you mightn't be so impatient. Poor Dennis, my God, it's a shame." My throat went suddenly dry as the words rose to an almost febrile pitch. What could Marsh mean? Suddenly I saw that he had stopped and was entering the house alone. I heard the front door slam and listened as his footsteps ascended the stairs. Outside on the veranda, I could still hear Marceline's heavy, angry breathing. I crept away, sick at heart, feeling that there were grave things to ferret out before I could safely let Dennis come back. After that evening, the tension around the place was even more than before. Marceline had always lived on flattery and fawning, and that shock of those few blunt words from Marsh was too much for her temperament. There was now no living thing in the house with her anymore. For with poor Dennis gone, she took out her abusiveness on everybody. When she could find no one indoors to quarrel with, she would go out to Sophisiba's cabin and spend hours talking with the queer old Zulu woman. Aunt Sophie was the only person who would fawn objectively enough to suit her. And when I tried once to overhear their conversation, I found Marceline whispering about elder secrets and unknown Kadath, while the negress rocked to and fro in her chair, making inarticulate sounds of reverence and admiration every now and then. But nothing could break her dog-like infatuation for Marsh. She would talk bitterly and sullenly to him, yet was getting more and more obedient to his wishes. It was very convenient for him, since he now became able to make her pose for the picture whenever he felt like painting. He tried to show gratitude for this willingness, but I thought I could detect a kind of contempt or even loathing beneath his careful politeness. For my part, I frankly hated Marceline. There was no use in calling my attitude anything as mild as mere dislike these days. Certainly I was glad Dennis was away. His letters, not nearly so frequent as I wished, showed signs of strain and worry. As the middle of August went by, I gathered from Marsh's remarks that the portrait was nearly done. His mood seemed increasingly sardonic, though Marceline's temper improved a bit as the prospect of seeing the thing tickled her vanity. I can still recall the day when Marsh said he'd have everything finished within a week. Marceline brightened up perceptibly, though not without a venomous look at me. It seemed as if her coiled hair visibly tightened about her head. "I'm to be the first to see it," she snapped. Then, smiling at Marsh, she said, "And if I don't like it, I shall slash it to pieces." Marsh's face took on the most curious look I have ever seen it wear as he answered her. "I can't vouch for your taste, Marceline, but I swear it will be magnificent. Not that I want to take much credit. Art creates itself, and this thing has had to be done. Just wait." During the next few days, I felt a queer sense of foreboding, as if the completion of the picture meant a kind of catastrophe instead of relief. Dennis, too, had not written me, and my agent in New York said he was planning some trip to the country. I wondered what the outcome of the whole thing would be. What a queer mixture of elements, Marsh and Marceline, Dennis and I. How would all these ultimately react one on one another? When my fears grow too great, I tried to lay them all to my infirmity, but that explanation never quite satisfied me. All right. We are on to chapter 4. That's a good halfway point, I think, for now. We can pick that up next week. There's a good bit more, so we'll save that for next week, I think. Chapter 4. Good bit of fun of it. Yeah, it's close to the halfway point, I think so. If we read for about an hour now, we can save another hour. We could do the whole thing tonight. I mean, it's up to you guys. If you want more, just let me know. But I think that's a pretty good halfway point for now. Pick it up from there. I'm going to look at things on sale. We've got King's Quest Collection, only $14. It's been on the wish list a good while. Play that again. I actually have the box set of a lot of them, so just watching the playthroughs of them and such. They're pretty good puzzle games. And then we have one for my other high school nickname, other Canadian Laser Bears and Purple Hippo. We do have Age of Mythology in that expansion at $7.50, so a good deal for that. Just considering that, looking at that, deciding if we want to buy them, add that to the list or not. We do have a lot of things currently on deck, including our Diablo 2 Resurrected Go over current bits and such. Hope you enjoyed the reading so far, though. We are going to be moving on, I think. Probably some Red Dead looks good for now. So let's pick it up there, Chapter 4 of Medusa's Coil, next week. Unless you guys really want more, I can always open it back up. But I think that's probably a good amount for now. Frame drop has calmed down, good 3%. I can enjoy some adventures for the next hour or so. Some Red Dead and return to other good things. And Fate other such. I think it's a pretty good night for Red Dead. We have not played since the 5th, so it's been a good 5 days. We can come back to that and pick it up very soon for the Lovecraft Tales, and we will find a good day to pull out the novels, read the intros to Micro, and Prey for our next 2 novels to look at. Decide if we want a 4th novel after the initial 3. Congo, Jurassic Park, and Timeline. As fun as those were. Alright, looking good for now. Let's head on back to it with some Red Dead action. Good day for that. Terrific Tuesday. Thanks to Marsh. Come and enjoy. Fun with the character Marsh and Marceline there. Very interesting indeed. Alright, we'll switch to first playthrough tag in the future. For now, I think we are good to go. Let's pick it up with that and have a good time doing it. Spellcast University, other good adventures to come. I think tonight is a good one for some Red Dead. Terrific fun. It's fine Tuesday. So let's move on, have a good time of it. And that'll work out. Just fun, interesting story so far. Make it a 2-parter. Seems like best to do for now, unless anyone is completely absorbed and interested in it. I can get back to it, though. I think that'll be fine. Alright, just letting that quick little Rockstar login come to be done, and we're good to go. Let's pick it on up with some of that. Perfect time, perfect fun, the jump game, just in time to switch over to live scene. It's in both places though, right? Yeah. Jump game always there, so good fun for sure. Alright, we'll get those headphones back in and see right where we left off. Red Dead action. Gonna load the hard save. Probably best thing to do. Not waste the ammo and explosives. I was just messing around at the end on if that would autosave or not, so best to not risk it. And we're looking good. Martian friends, hope you enjoy good reading. We have other voice mod demonstrations as well. But it's all good. These different effects, you know? Lots of great fun, lots of action, and a whole lot of great time. I thought this was the one with the 3 different effects. That must be a different one. Let's see if I can find that one. Oh, I do have some new voices. Let's check those out. I haven't seen these before. We have a new one, for example. It is called Hive Mind. Let's let that load. Quick second. I'll get loaded up here. Story mode. Doesn't actually let you load directly. I'll check my dynamite and see if anything's missing. Oh boy. Give this a second to catch up with the voices. Trying to get there. There it is. AI voices. Yeah, let's see how these work. Alright, we have here for you now Hive Mind. That's pretty interesting, to be sure. The Hive Mind alien and the Queen and other stuff like that. I can add that to the list. Sure. Why not? We also have the Invader. Interesting one here. The Invader. Kinda cool one.
The Invader. Not sure about that one. Spellcaster, most recent one, my interest. I added pretty good one too.
Alright, a few voice mod demonstrations for you. Let's see if we're missing any dynamite. If we are, we'll reload the hard save. But it might have kept that quick saving from my hard save. Most recent actual save, so yeah, a lot of flooding in the areas, a lot of heavy rain today. Very intense. But been a good 5 days for Red Dead. We're not picking it up for a good bit. See where we left off in the swamp. Motion blur action. Yeah, 8 dynamite. Don't think I'm missing it. I used it, and it did not lose it, so we are good to continue. Got the bow. That's funny. Those poison arrow recipes there. Anyway, good times with chocolate. Let's not lose chocolate right at the beginning here. That's gonna... He's having chocolate, a good horse. To maintain him. Keep him looking steady.
How you doing, boy?
It's good to brush him, right? I don't have to actually equip the brush every time. You can just click on that. It's easy. Cores could use a little refill, Deadeye and such, but it'll be good for now. What is in the water here? Some fish. Can't even tell. Who are those guys? Travelers or the like. Need to mess with them, man. Alright, should pick it up on missions or just, yeah, I was clearing bounties of the things. Tell me how much money I have. Yeah, 160 right now, that mission. So I definitely need to go back to the camp. Turn himself into other things. What is that? It's a baby gator. Just a little one. I don't need to mess with that then. Alright, well, we pick it up here a few days. Deciding what to do first, but I can't get a rest to turn myself in with that much money, so I can't pay the bounty either, so I guess just go back to camp, but we could do John on the way. What do we have here? What mission here? Horse flesh for dinner. Grace plays something to do with the Braithwaite prize horses. Well, it is really close by, so we did just hard save. We have that. If anything goes wrong, can always reload. If it's nothing we can recover from naturally, which we typically do. So let's move on, have a good time of it. Welcome in the roost for good fun. Yeah, you see the bounty is the least much money as I have, so looking good. Broadcast stable. I'll be checking out the background here and there. But I think everything is fine, everything we need. Good enjoyment, enjoy your champion commands and other things here. Tonight, a race. Catfish Jackson's, alright.
Sure, why not?
Ready? Let's go.
Let's check it out. Last time I did this, yeah, it messed up. I ran into her and it canceled it.
Hey there.
Let's see if this time I can actually win. Genuinely. She pulls ahead in the end. She is actually a good race. This gives me a second chance to do this right. Last time I killed the guy there, I want to do the shootout. Different than the Mexican duelist. But hopefully everything working here properly. The broadcast and might have copyright VOD or censored VOD or like, you know, just blocked VOD altogether because certain wordings in the Lovecraft stories and what Lenny calls himself. I still need to edit that video, re-upload that. I just get tired of the audio issues, things. I don't really know that press shift as you gallop won't consume stamina. I don't really understand that. Just keep it up. Come on. Alright, we're just gonna do full sprint. There's no reason to tap shit. You can tell the little shuffle is helpful if we need to do that, though. You can do that. So I'll gotta come on the last bit of sprinting here. So it took me away from the mission, but I wanted to win a race for a change. The racing was ridiculously hard in the first game. Remember, even with the war horse. Auto save, whatever you say. Good time. Earn the ability to bond with horses quicker when spurring them.
Good race. Could have gone either way.
I wish things was different. Go ahead.
Alright, just a matter of bragging rights, I guess. Well, stick me all the way down here, so I guess I better do Hosea's quest and save John's for later. Alright, the fine joys of tobacco, the manner integrate themselves. Guess we can do that for now. And say bye to her. That's all there is. No need to mess with anything else at the moment. Gang members, gang rivalries, gonna be just fine. Let's see.
You're a good boy.
Turkeys. Well, that was a 3-star. Maybe I can just give it the bow. That's a tasty 3-star turkey. Sorry to its mate, but did want the 3-star. Oh, I went down to 2-star. Damn it. I guess the varmint rifle would have been better than the arrow. It is small enough. It's hard to tell when they're small enough or big enough, but oh well. Next time it's varmint rifle for birds, yeah. I should have known that. I just, had the bow equipped and it seemed big enough to me at the time. That's alright. And cook some good turkey. They won't go to waste. Got all the meat out of it, so. Wasting no good animals in this virtual Western world. Absolutely. Interesting story tonight. There's southern things in the game, so it inspired me to play this from all the characters. Basically, the southern Yucca plantation house. Anyway, so it went kind of hand in hand. All those weird degenerates last time killing those weird hillbillies kidnapping people, so it's good. Get some Deadeye core back in a bit. For now, we're alright. Said I took those health items last time, didn't seem like I did. But we'll be good. Turn that off sometimes, but I really do kind of need it, I feel like. So, maybe in the future.
Hey, mister. Jeez.
What blood? Not much blood. What's he talking about? Yeah, and I donate all the camping. They have way more money than they can use, but I have nothing really to buy with, so I just stop by town and then go to the camp just to donate with it. Yeah, better than losing it, that's for sure.
You okay, boy?
Alright, here we go then. He's fine right there. Make sure I have the proper gun. Do want the bolt action for now. Where is that bolt action? Oh, it's already equipped, that's why. Okay. We'll change the ammo types, is interesting. High velocity and slugs. I haven't tried those much, so yeah, I'm gonna give them a try here, see how they work.
Is everything all right, sir?
Who said that? Anyway, here we go. Here we go.
This way, sir. A gentleman to see you, ma'am.
So, your friend, the other liquor vendor. Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Arthur, welcome. We were just playing cribbage. Arthur Morgan, Mrs. Catherine Braithwaite.
Nice to see you again.
Apparently. So this one, he is big and as dumb as he looks?
Well, he's surely big, but his intelligence is a matter of some conjecture. Some say he is as dumb as he looks, but I think, well, he's not quite that dumb.
So these are the boys
Didn't we
going
just
to
shave?
Caliga Hall?
Yes, we can take care of that for you, but one hates to be coarse. There is the question of money.
Oh, we've got money, Mr. Matthews.
Paper, bonds, metal.
She ain't gonna pay you in a certified check, you Yankee numbskull.
Ain't childbirth just the most beautiful miracle?
Well, Arthur.
Seems a lady
Oh,
can
you
birth
were-
monkeys, after all.
Alrighty.
No.
Sean, yeah. Forget his name. Also in the original Red Dead. Crazy Sean. The pool of water, let's get cleaned off. Very nice.
Are we going there?
Good shoes.
To drive?
New shoes.
Sometime today would be nice, Morgan. All right, let's get this over with.
Alright. Here we go. Deliver the liquor, I guess.
Took everything I had. That son of hers. I'll shove that silver spoon down his throat and pull it clean out of his arse. A smug fucker.
Okay. So what's she got us doing at the Gray's place?
She wants us to torture tobacco fields. Said they'd
Go
have
very
raised
fast, can
What?
using that back there.
Moonshine?
Burns faster than kerosene, that stuff. Said it'd be fitting, she did. All I'm thinking is how about I try fitting my
nice
build up your
pearl
old snotty old
plantation.
bitch.
Type of like
Hosea really picked the right fella for tea at the manor, didn't it?
Dutch takes it over later, I guess. We'll see.
His family's got gold stash somewhere, he reckons. I mean, I'm all for sticking it to rich folks. I hate rich folks. They really better be some bloody money at the end of all this.
Hosea knows what he's doing.
Does he though? The master finagler of nothing.
Easy, easy.
So far, we've destroyed the Braithwaite still, trying to sell the shine back to them. Now we're on this. Fools errand.
Save that much time by going cross country, I guess.
They was saying old man Gray's double security after that.
Straight and narrow, pretty much.
We're just gonna drive on in there. Is that it?
Don't worry, I got a plan. Wagons go in and out of there all the time with supplies, equipment,
Worry
payroll.
about chocolate, he'll be
Especially when
fine.
they're taking on all that extra muscle. We're making a delivery. That's all. Just leave it to me. I can talk a dog off a meat wagon.
All right, then.
Badger, badger. So, be good enough. Some progress. Talk about the other agents too, but that's a 3-star. Don't have the hunting guns out yet.
What are you playing at?
There's nowhere nearby, I guess. Not for the mission. Save the hunting for later, I guess. I wanted the combat guns just in case. That's okay though. He's just a bunny, we'll live without him. Need the beaver is what I really need to find where the beaver is on the map. Or look it up in the glossary or something. Find it soon enough. Be quite dandy. Exciting enough. Let's see. Can head on up. Progress on the stream for the game. Enjoyable times. Let's see what else. Doesn't want to just look at people without
Hey, mister.
aiming at them. Something wrong there.
Hey! Hold up.
Whoa, hold up a second.
Awful slow.
Worried about them Greys, English.
Said hold up.
You
He does
not
too,
worried
that's
about
funny.
them Greys.
In what sense?
Well, they knows you.
Maybe you're right. You know what? Here, I'll go hiding back. If getting into a fight before we're ready.
I will try.
Yes. Try and do an
Look at the gun.
human being.
The gun. That's hilarious. No. Under the wagon. Look at the gun. That's crazy. With the picture, I guess. My goodness. That is funny though. Alright. What the heck was all that? Alright, anyway. If you refuse to hide in the wagon, something else might happen. It's okay.
What you want, boy?
There was a thing.
Can't see him
At the saloon.
pretty easily.
Well,
It's right there. I mean, look at it.
Not the usual driving.
you want a bottle, friend? Here. Have a wee drop.
God.
I'm new. I mean, you know.
Handed it to him.
I've come from Donegal, in Ireland.
You don't say.
Yeah. He said you'd understand. Some kind of incident at the saloon in town.
So,
I was told to bring this up here. Ask no questions, I'll tell you no lies. Sort of business. Before the officials got there, they said.
Okay. Drive this way. I'll show you how to get there.
Oh, thank you.
come
And,
through the wood. They really
have a
can't
drink, Sean.
work on the character model things.
Hamish.
Good to meet you, Hamish. Fine bit of country you've got here.
Jeez.
Not as fine as Connemara, but fine nonetheless.
My people come from Scotland.
Is that right? And you and I are nearly brothers.
Scots Irish. The code is too silly to me. Going through the wood.
Just over here. Straight down the path here. It's getting so I can barely keep track of all these deliveries coming in.
Yeah. And they said they was
Drinking
looking for
while
more
he's
drivers
talking.
down. I jumped at the chance.
Oh well. Proven PC actors eventually. Just the character model, not the voices, obviously.
Time of it, have you?
Not their fault.
Yeah, Mr. Gray's got a heap of problems right now with another family around here. Bunch of covetous lowdowns trying to sabotage his livelihood.
Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that, Hamish. Sounds like you definitely deserve that drink.
You don't know the half. Just in there.
Right you are.
You can unload it here.
In here?
Yep.
The horse is like a swift one. Do they?
See.
Excuse me?
Nothing. It's grand. Quite a place you boys have got here. Reminds me of one of them big houses out in Donegal.
Kill
Fancy
them.
places they was, Hamish. Real fancy. Because if some folks got all the money, they can build quite the fanciest places imaginable, eh? Well, yeah.
Break his neck, that necessary. Guess so. Apparently.
How you getting on?
Whatever you say.
Nearly got these things ready.
Okay.
Bend down, Molotovs.
There's plenty of guards out there.
Brought my good guns.
Doing things. You head over to the dry barn. Sure. And you? I'm gonna deal with the fields themselves. We coat everything in moonshine, and then we light things up with these little fellers here. Thankfully, it ain't rained, and that old barn over there should go up like a torch.
How many of these boys you think you need?
Should do it.
We got a few, but
Let's head out the back.
pretty bad.
Once they get wind of us, there'll be
Flame
no
thrower.
turning back, so move quickly.
It's funny.
A rebel stock, boy. On the bar burning down manor houses.
We'll burn quietly.
There we go again.
Quiet. There's someone coming on the left.
Jeez.
Oh, hey. Well, I thought the wagon already arrived.
This one didn't.
Strange. So, what you got there?
Payroll.
Okay. Drop it by the supply shed at the back of the field.
Sure. See you later.
You hear that? Hero.
Yeah. Let's get this job done first, okay?
Extra.
Just let me deal with our friend here. Come on. You douse the fields. I'll meet you at the barn.
Try to stay out of trouble.
There's people all over. Got it literally right there. Like in the actual vegetation, not just the saplings. Shit. Oh, it shows the percentage up top. When hiding amongst plants, guards will not be able to see ease.
Next. That should do it.
Get all that. Shit. That's close.
That's good. Should be enough for here.
Okay. Over there. Know if I can kill him or not. Not, it's not giving me any options except straight stealth, so you'll have to adhere to that. Try to get by. Watching, but not too close. Good enough, I guess. Not very good at the stealthy environments. Trying. Pour the moonshine, you guys. Delightful. Watering the plants. To burn some. Kinda cool to see it first person, but not necessary. Over there. That didn't work out. He saw me out of nowhere. That was funny. Checkpoint. Yep, something alerted him. I didn't think of. Oh gosh, dang it!
There's someone coming on the left.
All that for nothing. Have to do it again. That's silly.
Oh, hey.
Try this again, I guess.
This one didn't. Strange.
There's no way to get by here.
What you got there? Okay. Drop it by the supply shed at the back.
I'm very impatient after that, though, so. Let's see. They're telepathic, I guess. No, drop the moonshine. Real easy, just kill them. Yeah. There's no time limit, so if I just kill them all. Then I wouldn't have to worry about them, right? Honestly. That's my usual approach to these type of things. That was funny. Do this for it to apply the health increase. Can't carry anymore. A few less to worry about. So, no silence pistol yet, so. Now I know I can drop it, it's just a matter of how do you drop it? Tab? Okay. That makes it easier. Oh, you can't climb with it though. Alright, let's see about it this time. Burn the body too. Maybe. Dastardly villains. Do dastardly things. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to do as good a job this time, just try to get it done, because it didn't make any difference when I got caught. Let's see. Check it out. Yeah, less guards really makes it easier. Have some too. Probably a challenge this time not to kill anyone, so we'll see that after the fact, like always. Alright, we're just about good. Drop the rest here. Shows it as a gun, that's weird. It's not a gun.
dousing as well.
Oh. You will, okay. Because I didn't bring it.
Think she'll go, Arthur? Light her up.
There you are.
Not fireball, right? Haha, now let's go light ourselves a fat cigar. Somebody shoot him already! I'll deal with these fellas. They got the redhead! I'll get under Arthur.
Use my personal Molotovs. Probably. He killed the one.
Not right now. We got company. Hey, look out!
No, let him go again. Jeez. The better ammo, but still not gonna work. Yeah, it's tough. Those are the slugs. I'm trying them out. It's more accurate or rounded than the buckshot. Let's see. Good place for some dynamite. Oh, I killed him already. Never mind. At least you seem to. No, he's alive.
There's more of them. There goes out right out of here.
The wagon we saw come in earlier. You nick the horse from
Check
that.
it out.
All right, where is it?
This way.
They shot him. Did catch the bullet.
Let's go. More guard coming in.
Plenty of that. No time to loot though. Jeez.
You seem to be taking it well.
This is a goddamn mess.
Down here. Come on.
What a miss. Really no time to loot these guys. Looting is death. Alright. If you say so. Burning low enough, I guess. Should've killed.
Maybe they haven't unloaded that cash yet.
They didn't tell you there'd be an army of them?
They didn't tell me nothing.
All right, come on, we'll take those horses.
Free of the horses.
Nobody's actually in there.
Fucking Roch.
Oh boy, we did good, Morgan. We did good.
Great, well, let's go.
Don't die.
Looky here, you get them horses free, Marker. Come on.
Trying, it's not letting me. Wait for Sean to say. Oh boy.
Okay, let's get the hell out of here fast.
You right, follow me.
Follow you again, huh? Through the fire.
Done good, girl.
More men up ahead.
Jeez. Try those slugs out. Kills them before I have the chance.
The front gate.
Oh yeah. Slugs are interesting though. Try them out. Much difference there.
Jesus, that turned into a right party.
You call that a party?
That Braithwaite had got our money's worth, all right.
That's just
Burning.
Get out of
Let's burn it up. Outlaw life, I don't know. The enjoyment of it though. Okay. Interesting.
I think we lost him.
That we did.
Quite a night.
Sure.
Interesting little fight Dutch has put us into the middle of here.
I hope him and Jose are right and that there's some money at the end of it.
Well, what now?
Head on back to camp.
Yeah,
Coming.
to camp.
Sure.
Yeah, I need to deposit all the money I can buy that ammo and such. I didn't really need to buy anything, I just was gonna make an excuse to go into town for the baths or such, but that's okay. Alrighty, good to go. Moving on.
Here we are. Home sweet home.
You let Hosea know how we got on.
Yeah, bronze as expected. Yet again, can always replay in the future. That's fine. Alright, we had Silent kill him. Yeah, I would hope he would get that one. Good cut there. I can deposit that right away, I guess. Yep, total gang savings 12,000. More than we are gonna need anytime soon, but yeah, it should be plenty. Dust fields within 2 minutes 20 seconds, so you just be efficient for that and avoid the guards unless you kill 5 during the escape. Sean beat me to it for those. And complete the mission without taking any health items. Again, I didn't take any health items. Why do you think I took them? That happened last time too. I did not take any health items. I thought about it, but I didn't. Ugh, annoying. I don't know why it says that. I mean, maybe it's like an automatic heal or something I just don't know how to turn off. Beats me. Yeah, plenty of money. And that horse can be temporary. There's chocolate though, Mr. Chocolate. Gee, it's so hard to hitch them sometimes. You have to line up just right and press the button the right way. It's just a difficult thing to do. It's a good looking horse though, pretty big. Chocolate will still be my Prep 2 for now. That's a huge horse, yeah. I don't know if that much size is helpful or not, because yeah.
You okay, boy?
Sometimes size isn't always better. Giant horse. Alright, we can do the Dutch horn with the Pinkertons after I...
My old friend, join us, please.
Litany.
I'm sleeping off of...
Why would he wake him up? It's a 9 o'clock time for bed.
Don't worry. It can wait.
Too tired for this.
Looks kind of strange. I'll rest later. I need to do some things. Whoa.
You okay, Arthur?
That's intense. That dusty side should be better camp than it was though.
What is it?
It's 9 o'clock. Why would he wake them up? Oh, that starts the quest, so I don't want to do that yet. Need to shave and sleep first thing. 9 o'clock at night, you waking everyone up right when they went to bed. That is silly. Alright, well anyway, the ledger is fine. Saw other stuff at the fence, but gold nugget and all, defense. Donate a few of these. Weird system of it, if you ask me. Silver pocket watch, gold pocket watch, platinum pocket watch. That's good too. Less in my inventory. Donate a few of those. And the ledger is the same as always. Mostly Arthur with a 1,200, yeah, 2,500 and saving. A lot of money. Yeah, Lenny did a reading glass. Something at least. We could restock, I just don't see any need to. We got all the upgrades. Now I'll give them all the monies for when I turn myself in for the bounties. Like at least 500 in one area, 100 in others. At least then they won't take the money for the bounty. They'll just arrest him and they'll do his time. Which is inconsequential in this game, so might as well give it all over. Well, it was morning, I thought the moon was up. 372 from that mission. And there you have it, folks. It was just the morning, yeah, now it's 8 a.m. So it was like 7 in the morning, so we get them up. I read that clock completely wrong, it's just confusing. Dial face. But yeah, before I talk to Dutch, I do need to sleep first, then shave in the morning. Or shave in the afternoon in this case. It was a busy night. Alright, we'll sleep till noon, that's fine. He looks pretty tired. That's funny. And we're good to go. Some nice new weapons and all. Good enough indeed. Interesting bit of it though. Yeah, I just don't understand why it's saying I took health items when I didn't intentionally, so maybe it's just manually. I don't know. Looking great as new champion there, Mwezik. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see what else here. Yeah, I need a better one for that new champion. Interesting. Let's see where it is exactly. Somewhere different than where it normally is. Just in a specific spot, so I'll remember better once I find it here. There's the count, voice mod alert, mask, daily text, new champion. Yeah, I guess that's good. Music, very lovely. We got it. Alright, fantastic. Slept, time to shave. Graf Arthur will have to bathe him next time we're in town or such. He's clean shaven for now with the scarecrow hat. It'd still be dirty, but at least clean as he can be in camp. I just go and take a quick dip, I guess. You see enough too. A few ammunition. Susan here. Talk to me while I.
Yes, really. I thought maybe it was Bill, but now I think maybe it's you.
Oh.
We don't need unnecessary problems. We have enough real ones.
Yeah, no more ammo for now. Alright, let's see what Dutch wants. Might as well hard save, I guess. Yeah, nothing really went wrong there so far, so hard save doesn't hurt. Getting close to halfway done already, halfway complete. 40 hours, 40% pretty much. Good to go. One bit of time there. See what Dutch has to say, other good things. Continue to enjoy the adventures.
Now, you sweating yet, Dutch? Of course I'm sweating. We're in some disease-ridden, swampy, whistling shithole. I meant about what Trelawney said about these bounty hunters. I'm not sweating as such, but maybe a little gentle perspiration. Until we know more, ain't too much harm in wasting good liquor on sweating. So, I think you should pay Mr. Trelawney a visit and find out exactly
good liquor on
what he knows and who
he spoke to. Take Charles with you. Oh, the sight of the pair of you would make a statue sing out its secrets.
Okay.
Charlie. Charles. Let's see if the other bounty hunters come.
Charles, I need you for some business.
Cigar, if that's already full, basically. Is it already full though? Yeah. So I'd just be wasting stamina. Don't need anything else. Alright, let's head on over. The right armament. We're looking good. It said the horse bonding would be faster when swerving them for something that I did. It's interesting. Got that double satchel. Very fancy as well. And Jack.
Dutch wants us to have a talk with Trelawney about these bounty hunters.
The new satchel he gave me. I don't want the sun off though. Double action being good.
Hoping he can tell us who they are or where they're coming from.
Okay. And you're deputies now?
Something like that. Soon as we laid eyes on that fool of a sheriff who runs that town, I knew Dutch was gonna play him like a fiddle.
On the run from one bunch of lawmen, working for another. Interesting.
Hiding in plain sight, Dutch calls it.
Scoot.
So, Spirit Sea in the new camp, I mean.
Here we go.
Got some space between us and that place now. Ain't seen no more Pinkertons for a while. There's these bounty hunters, of course.
Just fine. Sorry, bunny.
We didn't even get away with the money.
Just a silly bunny.
So, yeah, where were we? Yeah, but they don't know that.
Of course. Trelawney. I've only met him a couple times, but he's a strange one.
No robbery needed at the moment.
He's just a cockroach in fancy breeches. But he gets into nooks and crannies the rest of us can't.
That's where the fence was. Talk to them. I don't want to lose my guns, but I have to in roads. What was that about?
Let's take a look.
Someone got here first. So it seems.
By the looks of things, it wasn't a social call.
What's that clue?
House. Bed's not made, so he must have been here recently.
Eagle Eye, indeed. Mining company. This is to certify that if the holder of shares inclusive in the above company subject to the provisions of the memorandum and articles of association thereof, and that the sum of $1 has been paid on each of the said shares, secretary. Just blanking.
What do you think?
There's some blood here. That ain't good.
Well,
You see anything there?
in the box. Research that. Charlie, move. Oh my goodness.
Big struggle.
Everywhere you can be, you're blocking the one place. I wanna go.
But nobody?
Table. Nothing. There's the blood, yeah. Open snake oil. Deadeye's already 4. That's fine. Actually, it wasn't. See, the bar, I was completely full. So good. That was worth it then. Hold your horses, Charlie. There's the bag there, but cigar. What about that?
This food's barely touched. Looks like he left in a hurry.
Okay. We found tracks outside.
Yep. They went down the path here. How's your tracking these days?
Deers.
All right, I guess.
Well, lead the way then.
It says Morgan, but confusing is the horse or the name.
Normally scams himself into the best
Scanning the
hotel in
horse.
town.
You know, when me and Javier went down with Trelawney to get shot after the bar fight, I swear he talked the whole way and never actually said a damn thing.
I thought you knew. That's his special talent. They could be 20 miles away by now.
We can track them that far if we need to. Depends on how much you want to find them.
Yeah. I still ain't sure about that.
I think the tracks lead this way.
Yeah.
Easy.
Okay.
What are you getting off for?
Excuse me. Yeah.
I remember this part, yeah. I have seen this.
We're looking for our friend.
Specific mission.
I don't think he's here.
Dutch, so it's exciting.
You seen a strange sort of feller. Sort of formal.
Strange. Sure. Formal.
He uses a cane. Looks a lot like this one.
All right, you two. Where the hell is... You both better get out of here. Come in.
I knew how to dodge, so that would really help. I don't remember the buttons. Why are they so hard to remember?
You wanna come out?
Yeah, I remember that.
Stay there.
I'm trying to get my hat. No. Yeah, remember this.
Where is Trelawney? I don't know anything. Tell me where he is. You go to hell. You better tell me now, you son of a bitch. Okay? Okay, for Christ's sake. They took him to a cabin over by the cornfields. Which cornfields? Left. Down the path there by Braithwaite Mountain.
Since you kill him, just beating him up.
Alright. That should do it.
No, I didn't kill him. I was just trying to knock him out, but apparently he has lethal fists. I don't know about that. It's supposed to be non-lethal. Anyway, I'll figure out how to fight eventually. The dodge they only told you like once, so maybe if I actually read about it, it would really help here. For combat, arm combat. Where it's not polite or possible to carry a gun, you can always use your fists, hatchets in the world, tomahawks. I'll tell you how to dodge or fight. Weapons expert. Companions. Some horses have become agitated. Yeah, horse spawning already full, so not worry about that. It really doesn't tell you anything about the melee combat. Hand-to-hand combat. Maybe in controls then. Some kind of turn, not knowing how to dodge or block or anything. Maybe it'll tell me more of what I need to know. Attack, lock on. Melee block R, so R to block there. Hits, grapple E, yeah, melee grapple E, so R and E, all you really need. Alright, remember next time R and E for that melee fighting. R and E. Next time we'll get that. That'll be fine. Get a biscuit and we are fine. Have some beets. R and E, that'll be better. Next time. Usually general grapple you do sometimes, but R the block, the dodge. Maybe space as well, but definitely R next time. Just forgot about that for some reason. That'll work.
I don't know why Dutch still deals with him. Always disappearing for weeks on end.
He's got his uses.
Shuffle.
Loyalty matters to Dutch.
Of course. But is Trelawney loyal?
Yeah, kind of. I guess Trelawney ain't exactly a
Good.
He's got a big mouth. Don't worry. If he talked, I'll goddamn find out what he said.
Nice.
Nothing's ever straightforward where Trelawney's involved. Learn that much.
I mean, how much time have we wasted getting this fool out of trouble?
He somehow manages to be both lucky and unlucky at the same time.
Study the fox, yes.
One way of looking at it.
But he always finds some way to pay us back. Just when we think about cutting him loose, he brings us something big. I guess that's a special talent, keeping fish on the line.
There, the pig, pig, pig. Alrighty, well, we'll try to some more progress and see what else. Learning along the way. We go to the town, sell the rabbit, but I don't know where we're going right now. It's following Charles, so that's a doomed mission. We'll see.
That must be it.
He said they took him here, yeah. Cabin near the mansion. Yeah, they are.
The thing is, after that attack, this will be remembered like a good time.
Put the man down, gentlemen.
Yeah, running away.
Is that the lot of them?
I think so.
So you're alive.
Allegedly.
Don't worry, they won't be for much longer.
Look, go get them, Arthur. I can handle this.
Took my rifle, damn it. Well, that's with the horse.
Who knows what he told them? Let's get after him, sucker.
They're trying to hide in the fields.
Just one. Scarecrow. Get back my tomahawk. Eventually. He's got another hat on his head though. Hide. Find my way to the kingdom come with, oh yeah, the birds. Indicate. Last one, I'll loot him first. There's no actual timing. Deciding what to do. Can't whistle at the moment for some reason. That's alright. Last one over here. Where did he go?
Hey! I see something on the ground over here. He's dumped his gear. Look around. He can't have gone far.
Gear. Interesting. Somewhere in the vicinity.
Keep looking, Arthur. He must be close.
They told him. It says he's here, but don't see.
Keep searching. He's around here somewhere.
So, wagon. Maybe I have to be on foot. I don't know. Not finding him on chocolate, so yeah, I thought he was gonna do something like that. Thought that was gonna happen. Yeah, no way to avoid it.
He's mine. Let me take him. You get out of here.
Not my friend.
He's not your friend. I'll give you money.
Oh, knifed. Be quiet. Straight to the heart.
I'm a fool. Yeah. Thank you. Gord, you okay?
Alright then. Whoa! A lot of money on it. Oh shit. There's other bounty hunters. Who the heck? Dang it, still don't have my rifle. I meant to pick it up from the horse. Have to work for now, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't do much damage at this distance. Why a horse so far away? Gosh dang it. No, horse just isn't coming, so I have to do without the rifle, I guess. Unfortunately. We'll get him in a second here. Upstairs. Oh, okay then. That'll work.
Should be the last of them. All right, let's go back for Trelawny.
That's fine, I guess.
Never goes easy, does it?
Sure don't. Come on. Let's go see how badly they beat up the slippery fella.
I wonder how much trouble he's brought with him.
New gun again. See, new gun. See what I can. Rare.
Our luck's held this
Rolling block. What's rare about it?
So I heard.
Something rare about this one. Let's scope one.
I hope you're right.
Alright, whatever you say. It says it's rare. A rare rifle made of light wood and blackened steel, adorned with carvings. Previously belonged to a bounty hunter after Josiah Trelawney. Found in a barn near Braithwaite Manor. The gun is a single-shot weapon, can use him. Alright. It's just a little fancier than the other standard one, I guess. They're chocolatey. Okay. Need to clean that gun if it doesn't let me maintain it during the mission, maybe. Yeah, I don't think you can.
Well, he's still here at least.
So, correct with chocolate.
Put your feet up, why don't you? You okay?
Okay.
So, who was they?
They were bounty hunters. Attached to Cole Stoudemire.
Okay.
They weren't looking for me, per se.
What you tell them?
Not much. I told them I was an intellectual. Come down here from Oregon, looking for a job at the university. Of course, they didn't believe me. Seems you stirred up quite a hornet's nest in Blackwater.
So I keep hearing.
It might be best if I stay with you, gentlemen, for a while. Can't go back to that caravan now.
All right, Charles. You take Trelawney back to camp. I'll catch up with you.
Okay.
Good to go. Looking just fine there. Oh yeah, I forgot about the scarecrow.
Pinkerton's lawman. Everywhere we go,
Sorry.
more and more civilization. Perhaps this is it from now on. We shall see, I guess.
Didn't see what it said top left, but yeah, interesting time. And another bronze. What can I do? Inspected all the clues. 30 feet of Trelawney's trail. I veered off a bit, apparently. And killed 2 bounty hunters in the cornfield within 1 minute. You just had to find the two. Quick. I mean, I guess it must have been slightly over a minute when I tomahawked the first one. Complete the mission without taking any health items. Again, why are you saying I took health items? You stupid thing. I don't understand why he keeps doing that lately. Maybe it just doesn't count it because I didn't get the rest. I have no idea. Anyway, lovely foggy day. We've got a hard save here momentarily. Not much else to do in the area, so I guess this will be our hard save for the night. Our final one, I mean to say. Finish up here. Tobacco, other thing. Magicians for sport, whatever it named it that, I don't know. Exit Games kind of has that interesting color on it. I like that. The varnish of things, but some good progress for now. Go to the butcher yet? Do you need to go to the butcher? So, turkey feathers, the bird meat, venison, I can eat that if and the rabbit carcass says the main thing. Better pay to do better job. It's funny. Take some I don't need this money anyway, so I really might as well just buy as much as I want. Jeez, you can buy a lot. You can just max that out. I don't know if you have to cook it still or what, but yeah, that'd be plenty of money for that. I just had so much money. That should fill that up. You just have to cook them all now or what? Well, some of them are cooked, so you can just eat them right away. The meat should be in one of these categories. Plenty of meat now. Where is it though? Yeah, there it is. One of those. Anyway.
Morning.
A very good morning to you.
Alright, so that's good for now.
Hi there, mister.
Respect to our creator. We pay respect to the dead.
The eulogy with nobody there.
Oh, Father, what do we say about a man who lost his way so often? He carried that awful war with him, rustling horses with a misguided gang of killers.
Tell it straight, Father.
Sir, we're in a moment of grief.
Conduct. That's good too. Barely anybody there though. Preacher and the guy on the side. Preacher and the Undertaker. Well, that's for the funeral.
Doomed to a life of sin and vice.
It's kind of funny. Memoriam at the.
For this man, oh Father, provide him mercy.
Nice. Cemetery. Alright. Right where we were. The other fence. We got more money.
How y'all doing?
Why don't you attack some of them rich sons of bitches instead of us good people?
Hello, mister. Wait. Follow me, boy.
Hey, you got anything for me?
They can craft, take Bradley Blue.
Something for a special someone.
Anything worth buying? Oh yeah, I lost my.
Someone to crack
What's
in
going
the
on?
skull.
I trust nobody's missing this.
Alright then, better be good.
Alright, take all the accessories.
Ain't this special, huh?
He's in selling it in camp, that's for sure. And the gold nugget, it's nice, but just like the emerald, no reason to hold on to it. Alright, platinum band, cock watch. That's all we need.
Too many questions about its previous ownership.
Good amount of money.
Thanks, partner.
Already did the hard save, so just keep it rolling. Head back to camp, basically. I really like the mask, but use it a bit, I guess. Oh yeah, standard jurisdictions can't use the weapons. Where is the badge? He just takes it off. Does he take off the badge when he has the mask on? No, it's just not showing up right now. Interesting.
Hey there. Morning, partner.
Oh well. Like I said, not much point in the mask in the first place. And if they're nice, I don't need to rob them, so.
Buddy?
That's right. A funny woman and guy just attacking me out of nowhere. That was funny to say. Oh.
Hey, you Lemoyne Raiders.
Looking for cargo
Ain't you?
here. Moving along.
May well be.
Hey! Let the man go. You're gonna have your
Shit, he's still alive. Chocolate took a bullet, looks like. The cow is stampeding. Who else? Oh, this other guy there. That was just a random guy attacking me for no reason. Intervening with the robbery. That was your choice. To ranch your way to Zealous there. I can get his hat, I guess. For a time. Not sure why he did that when I was helping people, but so it went. Alright, that was a little action that I was looking for, even if just pistol action. Be good enough for now. Silly Lemoyne's gotta die, you know. Gotta be that reverent gang enforcer. In this case, that'll work. Sorry, you took a bullet there, chocolate. Make sure you are well fed. Yeah, I took a little bit of his core there, you can see. His core is slightly damaged from the bullet. Maybe from that rancher. But he's okay. He's a tough horse, he will survive. Alright, looking good for now then. Let's do one last hard save. New hat, good fun. We'll pick it up soon and for longer. Next time. It's no active chat. I will call it a good night. Fun bit of Lovecraft, fun story. Check some messages. Hold on. Quick second, yeah. Right, yes, yes. Back to the lovely menu. Birds and things, other chats, okay. That's all we need then for now. Good stuff, we're good to go. And we'll consider that a good place to leave off. It's funny, you can do that in each tree. Pretty funny. Good times though, good for now. Experiment with a bit of that. It's a great time to be had. Oh man, it does work in the water. It must be wax then. I'm not expecting it to work. It works like a charm. Jeez. That is funny. I think you can shoot it, right? That'd be funny. Let me try to shoot it midair. So switch to it right away. You might be able to. Seems hard. Seems difficult to do. Alright then, pick it up from there, looking good. Very exciting times. Soon to be had. All that good stuff. Alright then. So the slugs, yeah, they're not too much different. Just a bit more conserved to one area. So pretty close to the hunt slugs, I guess. They're more powerful. No chocolate, don't mind, really. Alright, good stuff for now. We'll be back soon. Alright, continue on the fun stuff from Sunday. We'll see about tomorrow. Another schedule for Hunt Other Captures and Spellcaster University to be fun to return to as well. Look forward to them, guys. Good bit of fun here, little Lovecraft Tales and Red Dead. Nice little 3 hours, and we'll pick it up here some point tomorrow, Wondrous Wednesday. Till then.
So long, farewell, our readers, and good night.
Good night. Take care, eyes open, all the best. Be seeing you soon. Thanks very much for chatting a bit. I'll catch you guys shortly. Some point tomorrow, Wondrous Wednesday. Till then.
So long, farewell, our readers, and good night.
Good night. Take care, eyes open, all the best. Be seeing you soon. Thanks very much for chatting a bit. I'll catch you guys shortly. Tomorrow, Wondrous Wednesday. Till then. Good night. Take care, eyes open, all the best. Be seeing you soon. Thanks very much for chatting a bit. I'll catch you guys shortly.